On this episode of the Rebel Health Tribe podcast, available at rebelhealthtribe.com, we welcome Sara Gustafson from primalfusionhealth.com.
You can look in the mirror and you can see fat around your midsection, or you can see circles under your eyes, and those are the visible health symptoms we can see. So when we look in the mirror, we're more motivated by those things to fix.
But you look healthy.
And you got muscle tone, and you're lean, and you're strong, and everything looks good. Then you don't see what's going on underneath. You think you look fine. You think you are fine. That's why it's so important to really look at the mind and the socially conditioned beliefs that we have since we're kids. We don't see that when we look in the mirror, but that is a lot of disease. I call it not disease, but disease. You could fix my hormones, and I could take supplements for my adrenals and, whatever. Like I could do all that all day long, but if I kept running and I never fixed the issue up here that made me run and continue to damage my body, then what's the point?
That's coming up.
Welcome back to the Rebel Health Tribe podcast. I'm Joe Rignola with Michael Roseline. What's up, Michael?
Yo, man, how's it going?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
It is going.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a nice Saturday afternoon.
It's a shitty Saturday afternoon for me.
Is it?
It's raining and it's cold and it's supposed to snow tonight. But I'm okay.
Man.
I'm wearing a springy shirt, so I'm okay.
All right, that warms it up. No, it's. I won't talk about the weather here today because you'll just get upset.
And you've made some headway with the puppy. I heard.
Yeah, she is quiet and in the pen right now. This is our first go at a puppy podcast. So we'll see what happens.
President of the podcast, and
yeah.
for just to
Shout
warn
out to
folks,
Justin, the dog whisperer in San Diego.
Nice, excellent.
Yeah.
You got a website for him? Let's do it.
He works for Barkbusters. It's like an international organization, but he's the San Diego guy, and he's the best dog trainer ever. And no, this is magic, and she just sits there. So
awesome.
Let's do it.
We should warn people though, if she does bark or she acts up a little bit, that Michael's been trained to bark at the dog.
Yep.
So I think Sara and I are secretly hoping that we get a chance to witness that. So joining us today is Sara Gustafson from Primal Fusion. Hey, Sara. I'm all right. I'm just a little tired. How's it going, Sara?
Hey, everybody.
Thanks
hey, Michael. Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for lowering your standards enough to spend the air.
Stop it. I am rooting for Michael to bark at the dog, though. I'm all.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to get the dog to bark so I can hear Michael bark. But
it looks like she's going to sleep, so you're gonna maybe miss out.
Oh darn! All right. Well, that's right. I'll figure something.
It is Saturday though. A lot of motorcycles, a lot of sirens, a lot of people outside, so she gets woken up very
Maybe
easily.
You'll get a delivery.
Yeah, that happened. That's when I muted the microphone before we came on air because Marley went crazy too.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
We'll see what happens. I
Great.
can't promise you barking.
So, Sara, let's start out by just letting folks know a little bit about you, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a holistic lifestyle coach, a holistic nutritionist, and an exercise coach. Most of my training comes from the Czech Institute, and my partner and business and life partner is from the Czech Institute too. So we formed a business, Primal Fusion, and he does a lot of the hands-on client stuff, the training and the coaching and the neurosomatic therapies and stuff like that here locally. I mainly do a lot of the online stuff, remote clients, and I work mostly with the mind-body connection, the metaphysical connections with physical symptoms and disease, and that's what I help people with mostly, like cognitive behavioral training and kind of getting, clearing out all the cobwebs of social conditioning and deep-seated conditioned beliefs and stuff that can lead to disease, injuries, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And he's baby daddy too, right?
Yes, he's baby daddy.
We'll have Alex on too. That episode will get really weird.
Everybody will be barking.
Yeah.
Nice. We should definitely do an episode with Alex, where, holding the baby for the whole episode. That would be good. It doesn't look like he ever puts the baby down.
No. I gotta fight. I'm glad I have the boobs because otherwise I would never get to hold her.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to that myself. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got a countdown. It's about a month to go. If he waits
already?
that long.
Holy crap!
Yeah, right.
It seems like yesterday you guys found out.
Exactly. It's crazy. So yeah, it went really quick, and we've got about a month to go. I don't think he's the due date's May 9th. I don't think he's gonna wait that long. I think he's gonna be joining us before that. At least Marissa hopes so. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, he could be born on Mother's Day.
Yeah, we were thinking that, but I think he's gonna come even earlier than that. But who knows?
Yeah.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. So Sara, just let's talk about why you started doing, why you actually went to the Czech Institute. How long ago was that, and why you started to do the online holistic health coaching?
I get asked that a lot, and so if my answer seems too rehearsed, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I do get that asked a lot because if you knew me in my former life, I worked in venture capital, and then I was going back to school to study criminal justice, get a degree in criminal justice and forensic psychology. So I was actually going into the program to become a cop here in Austin, Texas. And so a lot of people are like really surprised that I ended up doing what I'm doing now. And that's mainly because first I had been diagnosed with celiac disease in 2001. And that was after 14, 15 years of being chronically ill and in every way possible. And so having that diagnosis really woke me up to a whole other, world of possibilities holistically, because at the time of my diagnosis, the only answer they could give me was, well, you just got to change your diet. And so that really opened me up to studying diet and, permaculture, sustainability, what our environment, how that affects our food, soils, things like that. So that was like a side hobby as I was doing venture capital and then went into criminal justice fields. And I was, just inches away from being a cop with the police academy and right around the corner. And my youngest, who was 1.5 at the time, she was getting really, really sick, and this was right after she had a vaccination for the swine flu. She and I both ended up getting really sick. Turns out she had a bad reaction to the vaccine, and I started doing some research with that. Turns out they turned around that vaccine in like a month and had it out for people, and no studies, no testing, nothing, and she got real sick.
Yeah.
From there, it was just surgery after surgery with her and just battles with doctors to figure out what's going on. And a lot of them didn't want to acknowledge it was the vaccine. Sure. And I got reported to the CDC. I got threatened.
Wait, what did you get reported for? Just because you were demanding that it was the vaccine?
I was refusing to give her any more vaccines.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, so my pediatrician at the time, who I no longer have obviously, reported me to the CDC, and there was all kinds of threats. And so when we started to notice that her belly would get really big, she just started doing table foods, and every time she'd eat, her stomach would blow up, and she would not be able to sit in the booster seat or in the car seat. Like the seatbelt would suffocate her because her stomach would blow up so much. So we demanded some information. I finally went behind the pediatrician's back, took her to the gastroenterologist. They did a endoscopy and said she's the youngest one they have found celiac on. So she did have celiac disease, and they think it's because of an autoimmune reaction to the vaccine that really progressed it so fast.
So that was the trigger. She had the genes from you, obviously, but the trigger was the vaccine.
Yeah. But it's not common for it to go generation to generation. It usually bounces generation, so every other. So yeah, they said definitely something in that vaccine caused this autoimmune reaction. But long story short, in the same year that all this was going on, my mother was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. My father had his 3rd heart stent put in, and my aunt was diagnosed with colon cancer. So I was just getting a resounding
calling.
Along with going into the program for the police academy, I was just nonstop studying diet and medications and holistic health and all of that. And it was it was just becoming my life, and I realized, I need to do something more about this. Why am I going to all these experts, but why do I have more information than them?
Sure.
Yeah. Why don't they have the latest information? Why didn't they read this study? Right. Why am I printing this out and bringing it to them? So that's when I decided to do some research. I knew Michael at the time, and he had gone through the Czech Institute, the level 1 HLC, and he was kind of talking about that. So that's when I looked into the Czech Institute, and it really aligned with pretty much everything I was finding on my own. And so, that's the rest is history.
Wow. So what was that, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago?
Yeah, that all occurred between 2009 and 2012.
Wow.
And then I'm still doing Czech Institute courses to this day.
Yeah.
You like to do solid, crazy years, don't you? Like, if you're going to do some crazy stuff, it's got to be all condensed into, like, one small package. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but...
It just sounds like every year something else crazy happens in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, okay. So that was around, you said 2009 to 2012. What was, you grew up in Austin? You grew up in that area?
Yeah, I grew up in Austin. Then I moved out to Washington, D.C. for a political job. I used to work on campaigns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I got a job kind of out there doing legislative assistant work, and then that didn't pay anything. So
did you work for anyone
I had to get a second job.
Did you work for anyone that we would know?
Lloyd Doggett.
Nope.
No, he's here in Texas. He's a really nice guy. But I worked for a lot of different politicians, though, being in LA, they call on Capitol Hill, you kind of work for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I started to recognize then, and Michael, you and I have talked about this, and there's no surprise, that it's really hard to be honest in politics, no matter who you are. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people that I really looked up to came to find were like really just in the pockets of a lot of big companies. And I knew I wasn't going to go far in politics. I couldn't lie.
You're right. Was that actually a thought? Were you actually going to get into politics yourself?
I was. I wanted to get into the Senate.
Wow.
Who else was just on that wanted to be a senator?
Yeah, that was who was that?
Somebody this week.
Yeah, it was this week. Isn't this weird? Like, we have these conversations with
Jen Whitman. It was Jen Whitman.
Jen Whitman, that's right, Jen Whitman.
Yeah, Thyroid Love and Care. She wanted to be a senator when she grew up, too.
I'm so glad you guys didn't go into... although maybe it would have been good if you went into politics.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because it's really hard to be honest.
Yeah.
You have to... Or you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to go up the chain anywhere unless you're in someone's pocket or you've got really, really, really wealthy family or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, or you're an anomaly like... I'm holding out that Bernie Sanders is still not in the pocket of anyone. He's still, has some integrity. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's one in like my whole lifetime, though.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Not like a regular thing. Although it could become a more regular thing now. We'll see.
We hope so.
I hope so. I hope it's a trend.
But I would vote for a Sara Jen Whitman ticket.
Yes.
You guys would get along great if you don't know each other, and if you'd like to know each other, I'll introduce.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Sure. That was 5 years ago already when you did HLC 1, because came up and took it in Chicago, and we went out and ate meat.
Yes, lots of meat.
Of course.
Yeah, we went to a Brazilian steakhouse.
I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You got to do, for sure.
Cool.
How old were you when you moved to DC, and like you were kind of set that's what you were going to do?
Right after my diagnosis of celiac disease, so it was in 2001. I was 21 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was dead set. But, in Texas, the cost of living is so reasonable. We don't have we don't have state income tax. You hear that? She's going
Yeah.
Okay. I may have to pause it if he can't, she may just want him to stand up.
It's okay. Baby screaming, puppy barking, me barking, Alex barking. We'll be fine.
We'll all be good. So, yeah, I moved out there when I was 21. Cost of living was like quadruple what it was in Texas. So I had a really big slap in the face of, I had to get a second job. So I got the second job in venture capital, and that really changed my life. I had an amazing boss who taught me a whole lot, and if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing today. Because, I mean, if you're, I'm sure you can speak in the same, you know, if you're in this industry, holistic health or health coaching, it's not for money. It's,
right.
You know, so I really took a huge pay cut to start my business in holistic coaching, and but I love it, and I wouldn't look back.
Growing up in Texas, obviously, you know, real conservative state there.
Yeah.
Is that would you lean that way as a kid, or were you always?
Well, I was until high school. In high school, that's when I started to become the black sheep of the family. Because I just didn't understand. The more I got into the government topics and politics, the more I just couldn't understand, like how do people think this way? And I remember I was 16. My parents thought they were going to have to get me counseling with my pastor because I was like, I don't understand how a politician can think like this or say those things.
They were going to get you counseling because you started leaning left?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll admit, I grew up. You know, New York is obviously a blue state, but out here in Suffolk County, it's pretty red. So I grew up. I mean, I was in the Young Republicans Club for a while there, so I was in it.
Yeah.
But obviously, I came to my senses. Sorry for folks out there who are, you know, but this is the podcast. We can kind of talk about whatever we want.
I have an amazing Republican family. I have a lot of Republican friends. Mm-hmm. There's no love lost there. It's just that this season of campaigns has blown my mind. To see one candidate who isn't taking huge donations and isn't in the pockets of big corporations or organizations, and that's mind-blowing enough as it is.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's mind-blowing that this other candidate, Trump, it's like they've turned the campaign for presidency into a game. Like it's a funny game you do at Chuck E. Cheese or something. I don't understand.
So here's where we took a short intermission so Sara could feed her child. So if you're watching this on video, you'll notice that little baby Ari is suddenly in the shot. So enjoy that, and now back to our podcast.
She wouldn't stop crying, so we're back.
It's fine.
Wow.
Did I bark at her?
That's impressive. No barking necessary.
Hey, Mike, you could try that if the dog barks.
Yeah. Sanity restored?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are not screaming anymore.
That's all right. So now that we got the political talk out of the way, we should probably now that the baby's here, we shouldn't talk politics. We don't want to have any bad energy. So what was it that made you shift from wanting to go into politics to justice and being a cop?
Well, that was something I always wanted to do, actually. I just never did it because back, when I was in high school and going into college, I was doing what I thought my parents wanted me to do, usually. I had a really strong interest in politics, but they really were pushing for, business, stuff like that. So I was kind of doing what I thought was, quote unquote, appropriate for a Lutheran girl to do.
Right. Funny how that works.
Appropriate to go into the military or be a cop. So afterwards, I really did just, I like politics. I like studying the law. I like, investigating the law. I like putting pieces of things together, and that was just a really big, strong interest of mine. So I went back into criminal justice, but the minor I got was in forensic psychology, and I think that actually helps me to this day.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's interesting. So you have the kind of mind that just likes to put pieces, do research and put puzzles together and figure stuff out, and so you obviously use that also. Yes,
absolutely. That's my favorite part of working with clients, is actually going through all of their notes and paperwork and Q&As, their health history, their lab reports, and just drawing a big report and painting a picture. That's my favorite part. I could do that all day.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That's really cool. And so when were you diagnosed with celiac?
About 2001. When I was 21.
But you said you were suffering for about 10-15 years with symptoms that you think were related to that?
Yeah, so when I was 7, I had spent basically my whole life with ear infections.
Right.
And I had like antibiotics just stopped working, and so the infection began to spread to my brain. So I was hospitalized when I was 7.
Wow.
With an infection spreading from my ear to my brain through the bone, and ever since then, it's just been a constant uphill battle for me to stay healthy. And I missed so much school. I had allergies. I had injuries, chronic migraines. I was always in pain. Something was always going on. I had mono and chicken pox twice, and any kind of infection. So it was just round the clock. You could set your clock to the time one infection ended and another one started. So their only explanation by the time I was in high school was that I just don't have an immune system.
Right.
And
well, this seems like an appropriate question. Were you breastfed as a baby?
Huh? Was I? Yeah, I was. Only, I was breastfed for 6 months. Back then, that's what they just told my mom to do.
Sure, that was actually probably pretty good back then. Right?
Yeah. So, sorry, we're live.
That's fine. It's good. This is real life.
We have a 11-week-old baby who's actually usually...
Believe me, in a month or so, I'm going to be doing the same thing. Well, not the breastfeeding part, but I'll have likely, have a baby in the podcast too soon. So it's all good.
Yeah. Well, she's super chill baby. I fed her right before we got on the podcast, so I don't know. She must have gone through a growth spurt.
Cool. Okay. So where were we? So you there was something that was just kind of destroying your immune system.
I was sick with something all the time, and I missed school all the time. Something was always happening. My skin was bad. My hair fell out. My nails fell out. Mm-hmm. I played soccer my whole life, and it was just always trying to keep up with that. I was, I'd get hurt, then I'd recover, get back in the game, get hurt again. It was frustrating.
And it seems like the celiac was kind of the root of that, at least maybe one of the root causes of
they think so. Because having an autoimmune condition, that's the misconception with celiac disease, is that it's just all in the gut, and you must be having diarrhea all day or something like that, and it's not the case. The celiac really presented itself in me with migraines starting at age 10, and skin issues, recurrent infections.
Right.
I was always getting bronchitis or laryngitis or some kind of itis.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's for every person that presents with gut issues, there's like 6 or 7 other people that present with other issues, which makes it harder to diagnose, obviously. Yeah. At least for conventional doctors.
Yeah.
So once you got the diagnosis of celiac disease, it must have been a relief.
It was a relief to have an answer, because they were trying every medication. I was on pain medication, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. I mean, you name it, anti-seizure medications. I think I was taking 13 when I got the diagnosis, and then I cut it back to 6. And like right around the time that I started really studying holistic nutrition, simultaneous when my daughter got sick, is when I realized, I'm only 26, and I spend a lot of time in the drive-through pharmacy. I haven't even hit 30 yet, and so that was kind of an eye-opener for me with that. I really wanted to get off these medications, and I wanted to know how. Mm-hmm. And Czech Institute helped with that. Paleo diet really helped with that, because I switched not just from gluten-free to more of a Paleolithic diet, and that made a huge difference. Yeah. Suddenly,
was that immediate when you switched your diet? So you just skipped all what most people do when they go gluten-free is they just go to the store and they buy all the gluten-free crap in the store. You skipped that step and went right to something that looked like paleo.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
It was automatic. It was no migraines, no pain, no skin issues. Hair grew back, you name it.
How quickly?
Within a week. It was
wow.
It was crazy. And I think because my condition was so much worse than I thought, I got so accustomed to being in pain or to feeling tired that I just got so used to that I didn't realize how bad it was until I felt good.
I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of people who feel like shit don't know they feel like shit until they feel better, and then it's like, oh my god.
How did I live with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was never that sick or had really severe symptoms, but even when I switched my stuff, I could remember things better. I could speak to people in public and not be nervous. I could sleep, go to bed, go to sleep. My skin cleared up. I didn't need to take a nap after every meal that I ate, which I thought was normal.
Yeah.
I thought that was normal. I thought you're supposed to sleep after you eat every meal. I was like, and now I like stop my day, eat lunch for 20 minutes, half hour, and then continue my day, and it's not like nap time. But yeah, I think that's really common, and with the more drastic the symptoms or the condition or the whatever, I think that's probably even more like eye-opening when you're like, oh my God, is this what I'm supposed to feel like?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I remember my first migraine that I got after I had felt better for a while, and I thought I was going to die. I thought it was like...
But that was almost every day for you at one point.
Yeah, and I was like, how did I do this every day? Every day. I don't... Yeah, since I was 10. I don't know how. I mean, now if I start to get that little blurry thing in my eye, I'm like, ugh, I freak out. And, usually it doesn't become a migraine, but I don't know how I did that every day. Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. How did you find out about the CHEK Institute?
Through Michael, actually.
Oh, okay.
He and I were friends, and he was doing CHEK Institute.
How did you and Michael meet?
Online through the Paleo group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
The Paleo Facebook group.
Yeah, and I joined that basically just to get some more information about paleo.
What was it, like 5 years ago?
Yeah,
5 or 6 years ago at least. Yeah, Sara was one of the first people I knew, like, in the industry, I'll put in quotes, like my first friend who was doing similar work, and I think we both kind of really got started around the same time.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
So was the CHEK Institute not the first thing that you studied?
No, I got certified through holistic nutrition, and then studied that because I was still at the Texas State University at the time. And then I started to go into some of the nutrition courses that they have there, and it's just crap. It's all crap.
Sure. Yeah.
Migraine diets, low-fat chips and diet soda. It was awful. This is what they were advising their football team to eat. Low-fat chips and diet soda.
Low-fat chips. Remember that? Well, remember the chips with Olean in them?
Yeah, get the baked chips. Yeah.
Olean.
Olean. I remember those. It was, and they pulled that when people started getting like anal leakage from it. It was
anal leakage.
Yep, that was a thing that actually happened. Yep, Olean.
Yeah. So I did holistic nutrition first, just because I felt like that's what I've studied the most. I think I can easily get through some courses in that, and then I got my personal training certification through ISSA while I was preparing for the academy, because I was like, well, I'm going to be one of maybe 2-3 girls in the academy, and I need to, build some muscle and some strength. I don't want to get up and have to do pull-ups and be embarrassed. So I just used my time at training at the gym to get my training certification. So did that first, then the CHEK Institute.
CHEK Institute. You were doing that, but you were still going. You still wanted to go through the academy. When did you finally make the decision to not do the police academy?
After HLC 1.
You were like, that's it, I'm done.
I really started to learn more about circadian rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
And when
cops always work overnights.
Yeah, third shift, right?
Especially the rookies. The rookies get the overnight shifts, and then you got to work your way up to not having to do an overnight shift, and especially on patrol. And I was thinking, okay, I've got 2 kids here, and I finally got off this medication for insomnia that I've had since when I was 17 years old. I was taking insomnia medication to help me sleep, and I got off of that for a couple of years. I didn't want to go back on that, and so really it was studying circadian rhythm that said, you know what, I don't want to be a cop that bad.
Yeah. Okay. So there was no grief giving up that dream of being a cop, or did you go through
a little bit? I just really was looking forward to the excitement and getting to work with people and helping people. That was just really what I was looking forward to. But I get to do that with this job too. So
sure. And you don't have to shoot anyone, so that's good.
Nope, I don't have to shoot anybody. Though here in Austin, the statistic of how many times an officer actually pulls their pistol in their entire career, it's like less than 0.01%.
Sounds like a good place to be a cop.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know
That's
that
cool.
I was a law enforcement major for 10 days?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, not many people do. That was my first major in college, but the class was at 8 a.m. So,
That didn't work. So
uh,
do you have aspirations of being a cop too?
no, I went to Western, well, I guess, I don't know. I went to Western Illinois, and that's like the biggest law enforcement school in the country for colleges as far as like getting a degree in law enforcement. And so it was the thing everybody else was doing there. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay. And the 101 whatever course allowed you to rappel down the gym building on ropes and
Oh
go
yeah, sign
do
me up.
crazy things like that. And I was like,
Mhm.
sweet, I'll do that. And then it was 8 in the morning, so I didn't go the first 3 times. And then I was like, so this isn't gonna work. How about history? So then I switched to history.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, but I
Cool.
was pre law enforcement for 10 days in the fall of 1998.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
So I'm basically a cop.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Why not? Sarah, who taught the first Czech course? Was it Paul? Was it Paul Czech?
Donald Carr, actually from Australia.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
I
Don't.
remember that because it was JP when you signed up for it, and I was like, you got to take it with JP, and then JP left the institute,
Yeah.
Oh
and
man.
then
Yeah,
Donald
Donald
was the backup. But I heard that he's fantastic. I've never met him before, so
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a great teacher. Every other course I've taken with Czech Institute, I've coincidentally had Paul as my teacher.
Oh, cool. What
Yeah.
other courses? What you went through 2 and 3, I think, right?
HLC 2 and 3, an exercise coach. I've started doing all the prereqs for the CP1, which is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Huh.
So, holy crap. I mean, talk about integrative. There's not one thing you don't talk about in getting ready for CP1. The body it's amazing.
the CP1 is Czech practitioner. The Czech Institute has 2 pathways kind of for education. The HLC is more the lifestyle coaching, nutrition, spiritual, emotional, mental, and then Czech practitioner is more for strength coaches, personal trainers, chiropractors, physical therapists,
Massage therapist.
massage therapists, like people who do more physical work with people.
Mhm.
I stopped at exercise coach because I realized I didn't want to do that work anymore. But yeah, Czech practitioner
I'm su-
is pretty rough as far as prereqs go.
I'm surprised I've never done a Czech course. I'm like still.
We got to
I
get
would
you an
still like to.
HLC1 next year.
I should. I really should. I really. It's just.
No, it's really fun to do it. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
a fun weekend. You hang out with really cool people all weekend,
And I
you
think I would use it for myself for more than anything. I'm not, just obviously it's a higher education, but I think it would just be a fun experience and a lot of cool stuff to learn. But I've always wanted to.
the networking is awesome too. Like I still am in contact with a few people I went to HLC1 with, and that was 2008. And then I went to follow-up courses with Emma Lane, who I knew through the Czech Institute, and then she teaches her own courses now. And that's where I met like Steve Macari, who we've had on the podcast, and a couple other people there too. And so it's good. We'll get you in there, and you'll think you're going to know all the stuff they're going to teach there when you get there, and then it's going to go completely sideways like our podcasts do. And then you're going to leave and be like, what the hell just happened?
Nice.
Every single course I've taken, I've left the on-site portion where you study for like months and then you go to on-site and do all these case studies and tests, and you leave there every single time. I've been like, what happened? What just happened? And how can we end it here? How can you end it right here? It's mind-blowing. And Paul said in one of the courses, he said it's chronic brain masturbation.
Nice.
It is.
Not sure if that sounds like a good thing or not.
Days and days in your brain, you just feel your head just like about to explode. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And they do it in New York. I think they do it in New York City. HLC1.
Yeah, there's usually a course around here. So, Sarah, how much has that helped you in your personal life? I mean, you've had a pretty insane life so far. How much is going through the course?
I think it has saved me. It has saved me personally because I've gone through a whole lot. Like you mentioned, the year. So before I got into HLC, right around that time, Michael remembers, I was a marathon runner. Mm-hmm. And I think that was my way of dealing with stress, running away and getting away. And it destroyed my health. It destroyed my adrenals. my hormones, everything, you name it. And so getting into HLC1 really helped me understand not how to just help my clients, but myself, you know, because I can only help clients as much as I can help myself.
Right.
So, you know, learning about the circadian rhythm and learning about hormones and all of that stuff really helped me kind of clean up my lifestyle. And even at that point, I wasn't on any medications anymore. I was eating a clean Paleolithic diet. I was sleeping good, working out. I mean, I was a badass. But I was still running like 40 miles to 50 miles a week sometimes, just like insanity. And it was destroying my hormones. And that's
what you kind of equate that. You think you were actually running away from shit.
Yeah, I was. You know, I was running away from problems in my marriage. I was running away from the stress of losing my aunt to colon cancer. The stress of, you know, my brother having so many injuries after the war when he came back, and the way the government treats veterans, it's disgusting.
How old's your brother?
He just turned 40 this year.
Oh, okay. And he was in the Gulf War?
He was in the most recent war, Iraqi war.
Yeah.
I think they stopped naming them. I think it's just like Middle East Bombing Part 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go here and bomb the shit out of it kind of a war. That's what he was there, and he almost died. He almost got killed. He was trapped by insurgents. And
was he Army or?
Marine Corps.
Marine, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of stress, and I was running away from all of that. I think that's why running was so therapeutic to me. And but like I tell clients, you know, you can look in the mirror and you can see fat around your midsection, or you can see circles under your eyes, and those are the visible health symptoms we can see. So when we look in the mirror, we're more motivated by those things to fix.
But you look healthy.
And you got muscle tone, and you're lean, and you're strong, and everything looks good. Then you don't see what's going on underneath. You think you look fine. You think you are fine.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to really look at the mind, the cognitive and socially conditioned beliefs that we have since we're kids. We don't see that when we look in the mirror, but that is a lot of disease. I call it not disease, but disease, and a lot of imbalances between what we believe and what we think and how we feel, therefore what we do. If there's an imbalance there, we're going to end up doing things that we know we're not supposed to be doing or don't want to do. So I think the mind and the metaphysical correlations to physical symptoms is fascinating in that sense. So
yeah.
Definitely super cool, and that's going to be part of our upcoming Mind
I was just going to say that.
We will invite you back to speak about if you'd like to.
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
To put you on the spot here and now.
Yeah. If you say no, everybody's going to see that.
Right,
it's
exactly.
I can talk about all day long. You know, you could fix my hormones, and I could take supplements for my adrenals and, you know, whatever. Like I could do all that all day long, but if I kept running and I never fixed the issue up here that made me run and continue to damage my body, then what's the point?
You've seriously had to use that training within the past year or so.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think if I hadn't taken HLC3, level 3, right before all the shit hit the fan this year, I'd be in a mess. I think I'd be, you know, I'd be on medications for sure. I would be in a hospital somewhere because this year was crazy. Yeah.
So it started, you moved a couple of times, you got divorced,
can you give us the abbreviated sequential order in which things happened? Trust me, if she gave the full disclosure details, we'd be here for like 4 hours, and you'd probably like be crying and or buying a ticket to Austin to fly there to give Sara a hug. I think this started last fall. It was not last fall. It was fall 2014 because I had just moved here. I think it was like November to October. I don't know when your HLC was, but I remember because Kristen Stafford from Chicago came over to my place here, and we hung out at the beach, and then I drove her to the middle of nowhere in the middle of the mountains in the dark where Paul hosted HLC3 out in Escondido, he said, but it wasn't actually Escondido. It was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains. And I had my car was like beyond empty of gas, and I'm driving down these winding, pitch black roads. My phone wasn't getting any reception, so I had no maps. We're like trying to find it, and I get to this spot where it is, and I drop off Kristen, and then I don't remember who was there, whoever was helping Paul host it, but there was like staff there, and she's like, "How are you gonna get home?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I like coasted down the mountainside in neutral in the dark to try to make it to a gas station and find my way out, and I like literally was sputtering as I pulled up to a gas station eventually.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I almost died in those mountains. But anyways, that was like late fall of 2014, right?
Yeah. It was October 20th or something around there. Yeah, it was right before Halloween. But yeah, he does that on purpose with those HLC courses. No cell reception, out in the middle of nowhere, clean food, like,
I'm sure it'd be really cool during the day driving a car with gas in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. Well, yeah, I was in the fall, and when I got back from HLC 3, we have a big test that we have to do when we get home. We have to put all these case studies together, do this full test, write essays, all this stuff. So I already had a big workload coming home from HLC 3, and then we discovered this house that we'd been building in Austin for like 3 years. We finally got cleared by City of Austin. We were going to move. And my husband at the time said, we're moving in a week. So like, fuck, we're moving in a week. And I really didn't want to move. I didn't want to move into the city. I loved where I was. And I mean, our marriage was already downhill for a long time, and I knew moving meant like crap. Yeah.
Was it like the second or third most stressful thing that you go through is moving?
Yes. It's in the top 5.
Yeah.
And then, so we moved, and as soon as we got to the house, he booked it. He left for Baltimore or something for a weekend. So I was there unpacking this huge house by myself. And then when he got back, we had, the talk and decided we just need to kick it and like poop or get off the pot. We're just going to get this divorce. So we did, finalizing a divorce, and then I moved again because I didn't want that house to begin with. So I had 2 moves in 6 weeks. And I had surgery on a hernia from a C-section, and my breast implants removed. Those were that's a whole nother story. And so after that surgery, I was moving to my new house, and ended up I was being on my feet way too much, and I got an infection. So fast forward through January, February, I had 6 subsequent surgeries. I kept getting hematoma, and the blood kept filling up into these wounds, and they had to remove blood, pints and pints of blood. Ended up with a MRSA infection, which put me into in-home nursing care. I was incredibly ill, and then I discovered a lot of things about the divorce that were a huge shock. I was starting another relationship at the same time. I was the director of the PaleoFX conference, starting my own private practice again also. It was just a mess. And then found out we were pregnant in May.
Yeah.
It was like between December and May.
It would just be surreal at that point. Like, how could this all possibly be happening?
All I know is every time something happened, I kept telling myself, this is just part of my growth. Like, it has to happen. I have to invite it in. I have to let it, stop fighting it, because the more you resist, the more powerful it gets.
Sure.
So,
that sounds great in theory, but I mean, in practice, I can imagine that's...
In practice, it's very hard. But when you accept it before something terrible happens, I think it makes it easier. It doesn't make the pain any less. It just, you can tolerate it because you know what's on the other side.
Right. You know you're going to get through it.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, who's playing all these practical jokes on me? Okay, universe, you're really, really funny, with this pregnancy. I had no idea. I mean, I was so sick. Had no idea that could even happen.
Sure.
And so then we had to move again because the house I got was so tiny, and here I am. I'm about to have a 3rd child, and my partner's going to move down from Chicago, and we're going to merge our private practices together, and it's been crazy, a whirlwind. I think there should be like a mini series on Lifetime about
Let's do it. We can make that happen.
I like to produce an edit video so we could do it. I remember when it finally like got to like, all right, so this was ridiculous, and then this happened, and this was like beyond ridiculous, and then this happened, and it was like,
Oh, come on.
you would message me and be like, listen to what just happened, and I'd be like, come on, and then eventually it got to where you just kind of snapped and wrote that article. Not snapped, but like decided to just share it with everyone, and maybe we'll link that.
Yeah, not snapped in a bad way. It snapped
not snapped in a bad way. It was just like, fuck it, this is going on. I'm gonna own this, and then you wrote this article that was like, it blew people away, and I had people be like, you know her, like, does she need help? Like, she seems to be doing okay, but I'll let her know that you're offering. But no, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Stuck with me. Sorry, I was going to say the thing that stuck with me from that article was, by the time you had the operation for the MRSA, you had so many operations previously that you couldn't get. They couldn't even put you out.
Yeah, I had maxed my ability or capability to do anesthesia. So I had to have the operation done wide awake.
Yeah, with just local anesthesia.
Locals, yes, I felt everything. And so talk about, if
when you say felt everything, like was it I mean, it was local anesthesia, but you can tell they were cutting.
Yeah, and there was one area where, because they removed my breast implant, so there were 2 incisions still there, and that's where one of the MRSA infections had spread. So they had to remove all the infected tissue in the breast from that, and I could just feel every scrape and every pull and every, like I knew what they were doing. It didn't hurt, but I could feel what they were doing. And when they went down to the abdominal area, the local hadn't set in yet, so I felt them cut it.
Oh.
It was, But now, if I could tell anybody the importance of learning how to meditate, saved me during this operation, learning how to really go inside yourself and go to a different place and really center. And I can't even use words to describe, but getting centered, and having earphones really helped also with music. And that's what got me through it, because they gave me some sort of sedative. What's it called? It's like an anti-anxiety medication. Xanax. Okay. Xanax and some local, whatever you call it, before the surgery. That's what I got, before they placed me in 3 places. So that was a moment of enlightenment for me also, is going through that.
Did you feel like you almost had or needed to have an out-of-body experience almost going through that?
It felt like it. And the nurse took a picture of me. I had my phone in there, and she actually took my phone and took a picture of me during the surgery, because she said that it looked like I just left my body. And I have that picture in that article. I put it in there.
Yeah. Wow.
Sarah's kind of like a wizard.
Seriously, you're not. It's not of this earth.
Yeah, like lightning bolts out of the hands type wizard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, but stress can lead you astray from those things, like this path to enlightenment and this path to self-awareness and whole awareness can get totally just butchered and put on the sideline when you go through so much stress. And I think I've struggled with that. After the pregnancy, I struggled with not being on the same path I was before. But I think there's just so much the body can take, and enlightenment is stressful. You're going through lots of pain. You're going through a lot of hard things. That's what kind of what I guide clients through. And a lot of Czech practitioners do it. JP does it. He's amazing. And taking people through this is probably the most stressful thing you can do. Going on a diet, trying to lose weight, starting a new weight loss program, or
that's the easy stuff.
Yeah. And when you're just starting out, that's hard. That's really hard. But then you start to master that, and you realize there's still something in the way. And that's when you get to the really hard stuff. And that's what I love, walking people through, is the deep, deep, difficult ugly, dark.
Sure. And you've been there, so it puts you in a unique position to help people, unlike most other people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, when I was going through all of this, especially this past year, I think, I have to go through so many of these things in order to understand the clients that will come to me. I need to understand what they're going to be going through.
Oh, that's an amazing mindset.
Yeah.
To completely accept that and understand that you likely will need that experience in order to have empathy and compassion for someone else going through something.
Absolutely, and I think, and if there are other coaches out there listening to this, I think it's really important that just because you get sick, or maybe, your hormones get out of whack and you start, gaining a little weight, or you're going through some dark shit, it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of health professionals and trainers and coaches hold themselves to this standard that they got to be this like beacon of health and fitness, and if they're not, then they are a horrible coach, or they're not.
Right.
They can't.
And I think it's just the opposite. I think people appreciate when you're transparent and honest and vulnerable and put yourself out there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you relatable, and people can trust someone who's not pretending.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That was a humbling experience for me too. And when I wrote that article, I think that was, like Michael said, it was like my breaking point. A lot of people, so much happened within like 4 or 5 months that people I was close friends with but hadn't seen in 4 or 5 months would ask like, "Oh, what's up?" And like, "What happened? Oh, and that happened, and that what?" There's no cliff notes for that, and I had to be as transparent as possible, I think, just to get that out there and say, I'm going through a lot of crap right here, but it's making me a stronger person. So anybody else out there going through some tough, dark things, it's awesome. It's a wonderful thing. Embrace it.
Sure. I mean, it's inspiring. I think I speak for everyone when I say that we appreciate you putting that out there and letting the world see that. It's great.
I'm sure it impacted more people than you would know.
Yes.
And now when I run into those things with people, I say, "Here's my friend Sarah's phone number. You can give her a call." So, because some of us just aren't cut out to do that type of work with people, or we're not, I haven't had training to do it, but like, I didn't believe that was a thing for a while in my own journey. Like, I learned what to eat, what to exercise, how to do all that stuff, and it took a lot of hard work in that department that I personally did mostly with JP, but before I was able to actually implement the things I was learning. And so now when I run into people that say like, "I know what I'm supposed to do, I'm just stupid and I can't do it," or "I suck and I can't do it," or I can't stick with this, or "I need these things," or like, "I'm just no good," or like whatever. And it's just obvious to me that they don't need me to teach them what to do. They need somebody to help them
how to think,
to be able to do it, like to be able to be in a mental and emotional place to be able to see themselves as that person who does those things, because that's the block. If they don't see themselves as that person who does those things, like saying, "I'm stupid, I suck, I can't do this, whatever," like, that's what they believe about themselves, and as long as they believe that, they're not going to do it. And Sarah's really good at getting people from seeing themselves in that way to, working through why they see themselves that way and how that came about and being understanding with it. And then it's not fluff though. I've seen some of her worksheets and homework and binders, and it's hard work. And that work for me was the hardest stuff I've ever done. It was way easier than reading books on what to eat, because you have to face things about yourself that you don't want to be true.
Painful stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, you're good now. You've got a beautiful daughter, and who we just got to meet.
Yeah. I think that's the most she's cried. It's so funny. It's the most she's cried in weeks.
She was trying to say hello to us. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. I was worried about the stress of my own stress and carrying her through pregnancy. It was very stressful, and I was still sick when I got pregnant. So I was very worried. But, yeah, she came out amazingly perfect and beautiful and healthy, and sleeps through the night since day one. And it's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. I love the picture you posted not too long ago where she was just sleeping and looking so peaceful, and you were like, "You see what I have to deal with?" I love that.
Well, that's her too, but her dad is very zen also, and so I think she picks up on his energy a lot. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's great.
And another funny tidbit is I knew Alex well before Alex knew Sara, and Sara knew Alex.
That's hilarious.
And Alex did horribly painful massage work on me and helped me fix 17 years of back pain.
Nice.
So,
yeah,
cool.
He just had a client call the other day and say that he's canceled his surgery because of this one appointment, and this guy can cancel his surgery. They call him the health sadist.
Yeah, it is not. You ever seen, Joe? You ever seen Braveheart?
No. I don't
No.
Really?
Is that him?
At the end of Braveheart, they remove Mel Gibson's character's intestines as part of a torture. Like, they have him tied up and quartered, and they're removing his intestines, and they like zoom in on his face, and it's pretty intense, like screaming, and someone who's having their intestines removed.
Sure.
That was very similar to my experience with Alex, except
very well.
once he took his hands off me and the pain stopped, I could deadlift and squat weights that like I couldn't do deadlifts or squats for 15 years because don't get really drunk and bounce on a trampoline next to a fence.
Oh, it's good. Good
I
advice.
did that when I was 17, so my back was never this.
Yeah, write that down. That's a good tidbit.
Yeah, that's the tidbit from today. But my back was never the same after that, and I went to years of physical therapy and all kinds of things. And I think it was about 2 sessions with Alex, and then 1 guided like lifting session with him after the manual therapy. And I went from only being able to back squat around 175 pounds to getting to about 325 in 6 months.
Nice.
And my back doesn't hurt at all anymore. So it was worth the 90 minutes of
torture.
Arduous torture, yeah. But we'll have Alex back on to talk about his weird stuff. But it was just funny because Sara came back from HLC3 and was like, "Do you know Alex?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know Alex." And Alex was like, "Do you know Sara?" Said, yeah, Sara.
Nice.
And now they have a baby.
Well done.
Yeah, I wasn't even at HLC3, so I can't claim any responsibility for that.
But you might have
done. On Michael's face that, months later, because Alex and I kept in touch, but months later, kind of as our relationship developed, I mean, because he was, almost like a mentor and my practitioner during all this stuff when I was going through the surgeries, and I was, I leaned on him a lot, and our relationship was just kind of, budding from there. And I remember when I told Michael, he's like, "You mean Alex Rubchinsky, really?" He could not believe it. Because I guess, back in the day, Alex was a lot different. But he's another one of those ones who went through Czech Institute.
So are you.
Yeah.
So was I. Like, I was scared of Sara when I first met her. She was like hardcore militant, scary to me. Because she was still in her cop phase, and she was intimidating to me, and wasn't in this line of work at all. Like, she hadn't even been through HLC1, wasn't doing any, behavior therapies or holistic lifestyle coaching or anything. So, like, you've changed a ton. I've changed a ton since then too, and definitely Alex. So, I mean, it's always, people should change and evolve, I think. I don't think that anyone should remain the same for years and years and years. I think that stagnant energy causes problems. So
yeah,
but kudos to you for your growth. It's been fun to watch.
Good stuff. All right, Sara. Well, that was quite a journey, and we're starting to probably a good spot to call it a day. Sara, thank you so much. Just tell folks where they can find out more about you.
Oh, yeah, you can. Our website is just Primal Fusion. Actually, it's a new one. I don't even know. That's embarrassing, isn't it?
We'll put it in the show notes.
Primal Fusion Health. Just one word, primalfusionhealth.com. And my articles, I write articles you can find on austinprimalfitness.com. I just signed on to do some writing for Primal Blueprint, Mark's Daily Apple, Paleo on the Go. You can find me over there as well, and Rebel Health Tribe.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. All right.
Wow. We have the most longest delayed echo I've ever heard. I hope that's not on the recording.
We better cut it off before we drive to the party. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.